Welcome to another episode of Founders Club. Today we are out here in the beautiful Fairbanks Ranch in Rancho Santa Fe at Rodrigo Ballon's house. We're going to be talking about how he grew his business from zero to $100 million a year in the lending space.
I got the nickname called El Zorro.
El Zorro.
El Zorro would come in and save the day. You know, the guy comes in his horse with the sword and saves the day.
And all the tips, tricks, and marketing strategies that he's got in his big bag to share with all of you.
If you want to have the best credit, here you go. Get 3 trade lines. So have a credit card, a Visa card, right? Have a gas card. Use something that's revolving. 3 of them will give you strong credit. You can get scores over 800 with just 3. Money in the bank. And then
This is El Zorro.
El Zorro.
If you have any comments, questions, leave them down below, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the inside. If you like the show, make sure you subscribe, and let's get this thing started. About to kick off this Founders Club interview with Rodrigo Ballon, and we're about to kick it off right with this bottle.
Woo! Yeah.
Hey-o. Thank you for this, by the way.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
Yeah,
Thank
doing an
you
early
for
morning interview today, so we're going to do a couple mimosas instead of the usual beer and cocktails. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Excited,
Cheers.
man. Thank you for having
Cheers.
us.
Thank you.
So I've been wanting to have Rodrigo on for a while, mainly because there's a lot of lenders out there, and there's a lot that people can learn about lending that I think will help in a lot of ways in growing their business. But what I don't want to do is make this a boring conversation about loans and rates.
No
and,
one cares about that.
Yeah, and programs and all that other stuff. I do have some lending questions that I want to get to, but really what I'm most excited to talk to you about is how you've built the large business that you have built. I know you've been ranked as high as number 10 in the United States for purchase volume.
That's right.
You've been ranked in the top 30 for FHA and VA in the United States. Right. And you've been doing over $100 million a year in production for almost a decade.
That's right.
So very impressive business.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. That's
Nice
really,
numbers.
Yeah, those are nice numbers for sure. And I think what I really want to talk to you about is kind of how you've built that business, how you oversee the business, how you run it, and different things like that. But
cool.
Why don't you kind of scale it back to like when you first got started?
Absolutely.
How did you first? Made you take the plunge into mortgages?
So I actually wanted to get into real estate. I graduated college. I moved down to Peru, surfed for like a year and a half, 2 years, did a little tourism business, just drove up and down the coast, and then I ran out of money.
Where were you in Peru?
I started in Lima, and I would just go all the way almost to Ecuador, surfing the coast up and down a couple times a year. Or
That's
a couple
amazing.
times, 6, 7 times a year, just over 2 years, taking people on tours. That was epic. Awesome.
How old were you when you were doing that?
22.
22. Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Foreign country.
Got a pickup truck, 4-door, had
That's
a black
amazing,
lab dog, and you would just cruise. It was
Good
fun.
for you.
Super fun.
Good for you.
But then I ran out of money. Then I
Okay.
came back, and my mom's like, hey, I saw an ad for an admin assistant for a loan officer. I'm like, I want to do real estate. And she's like, yeah, you should do loans because realtors are realtors, but lenders, you can work with all the realtors. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Cool. So for my first 2 years, I was an assistant in a company in La Jolla, and I learned a valuable ton of information of hands-on experience and basically knowledge and thought process that business is going to come from relationships. Prospecting, going to events, shaking hands, doing the coffees, doing this, going to the caravans. The caravans were super important because you saw the same people every single time, getting all the free food at all the houses, checking out the houses, even though they may not have clients for those houses.
Yeah.
They acted that way, right?
They're on the circuit.
They're in the circuit, they're socializing, and but it was a great time to speak to them, right? Everyone's super open, everyone's cool, everyone's there for one reason, it's to socialize, network, and check out a house and go to the next one and do it all over again. And it helped me tremendously because I got to meet a lot of people at a young age. So from then, I just moved on to another company, learned the ropes a little more, had my own business. And
did you transition to a loan officer at that time?
Yeah, so I went from an assistant to a loan officer.
Got it, okay.
At that point, we were hitting 2006-07. So 2005 was awesome, right? You were doing every loan possible, the stated income, no income, the milkman buy $1 million house, whatever it was. And as an assistant, I learned a lot, right? I wasn't originating loans for the first 2 years, but I learned a lot. it led me that 2 years later, after being an assistant, I'm like, okay, I'm ready, I can do this. And then the economy started doing this. And I'm like, oh crap, Ray started doing this. And at that point, I'm like, what do I do? So I relied on my sphere. I went directly to the family. I went to friends. I went to past neighbors, whatever it may be, to try to see, how else I can grow my business, since a lot of these realtors just weren't doing the business. Fast forward 2 years later, got married, and we were having a baby. And at that point, one day my wife goes, hey, you're not really cutting it out. Maybe you should go work at a bank, like 9 to 5, something consistent, because this commission thing's spotty, right? With no one really knowing what's going on in the business.
We can't be living like that.
We can't be living like that.
Got a baby on the way.
And we were entering the REO and the short sale. So it was like that bottom turn where the REO was mega huge, but then the short sales were happening also.
Yep.
But it was a kick in the rear that I needed of motivation. And there's also a saying that kids bring money, right? When you have babies, you bring money, or you work harder, whatever, however you want to look at it.
Extra layer of motivation,
yeah,
for sure.
And it was amazing. It was super amazing because I was motivated to just meet people and do separate things. And I started doing a lot of what people call impossible loans, fallout loans that people are like, I give up, I'm not doing it, right? And some people call it like maybe the crappy loans that just people can't think.
Give me like an example of something like that.
3-4 borrowers, maybe they had a bankruptcy, crappy credit, not much income, and people didn't know how to basically print everything, look at everything, and piece it. Remember that movie, A Beautiful Mind?
Yep.
Where he just looks at numbers
on the
and
board,
it all falls?
yeah.
Similar. I'd print it, I'd look at it, I'm like, okay, if we do this, not do this, here we go, here's a loan.
So you would make a case for these people.
Yeah, I would
the
make
Hail
a
Mary
case for
borrowers.
them. Yeah, and I was doing a lot of business down in the South Bay area, especially in Chula Vista. A lot of Spanish speakers. I'm fluent in Spanish, and I got the nickname down there a long time ago called El Zorro.
El Zorro.
El Zorro would come in and save the day. The guy comes in his horse with the sword and saves the day.
Oh, that's
Classic.
amazing. I
Yeah.
love it. I might call you that from now on.
No, I'll take it. That's fine. But it was such an amazing feeling of, okay, cool. I'm the guy now that can do all the loans that no one else can do.
Yeah.
Now, no one wants to be that guy, but that's a phenomenal way to start.
For sure.
So I'm like, cool, I'll do it. Well, I had an amazing team, right? I'm the sales, and I would figure stuff out, but you're nothing without your back-end team. And we would find solutions to all the no's. We would make them yeses. And if it wasn't a yes today, maybe a yes tomorrow or in a week. And I grew my business that way. I started doing a lot of business with Keller Williams. I was an in-house lender for 3 Keller Williams. And that helped a lot, built a team. And from there, I built different relationships within the South Bay. And from that point, I started working, now turned into like 2011, 12, when the flips started coming, right?
Yep.
And I became, I'd probably say, the largest lender for the flippers in San Diego. I worked with numerous of the top companies that were around. Most of them have now gone into home building or commercial, whatever it may be. But I got to a point where with a team, I was able to grow to, that's when I hit over $100 million for my first time back in 2012 or 13, right around there. And we were doing about 50 to 70 transactions a month, purchases.
Wow.
In San Diego, Northern California, and OC in Orange County.
With a team of how many people?
So I had 3 loan officers, myself, someone up in Northern California, and someone in Orange County, but all worked out of San Diego. And then, a processor, and then somebody helping with the paperwork. That was it. So my team, let me give you the dynamic how I grew it. Myself, until it was myself, then myself and a processor. Then I started doing 15 loans a month. Then I added a right-hand person, call her like a right-hand admin that would help me with the paperwork, talk to the clients, and she was bilingual, which is huge for my business at that time. And then I hired a loan officer. I'm like, there's only so much I can do. As much as I'd love to take every call, as much as I'd love to meet with everyone, it's impossible, right? So you have to delegate. And that's when I said, aha, okay, you loan officer, now you're gonna help me service these accounts. And that's all I want you doing, right? Don't do your own business, just start this. And it was amazing because from that point and that mentality, I was able to build more loan officers, build the team out, grow more accounts. It's funny, down at the courthouse where people were buying at the auctions, people started talking about me. Hey, this guy's good. You should call him, whatever. And all of a sudden, I was all over the MLS, right? Where people are looking for houses. They're like, oh, you must qualify with Rodrigo. Now, a lot of haters out there are like, oh, dude, that guy's an asshole. He's freaking dominating the market. But people liked working with me for several reasons. Number one, I'd get shit done. Close the loan. Am I allowed to cuss, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
Do you, man?
We love the F word in this industry. Number two, it was not just closing, but closing quick, right?
Yeah.
No one liked the 30, 45 days. And back when the flips were going on, that's when you needed 2 appraisals, right? Because anything that was done within 90 days, it was back in the day, show me 2 appraisals.
Had to get double verified.
Yeah, and some would come in short and kill the deal and kill the ROI for the investor. So, it wasn't working. And, I built a great business that we weren't experiencing any issues, and consistently closing and growing. That really helped my business grow because I met a lot of agents that way that said, hey, I really liked how you communicated. You're always on text. You're always on email. Your updates are amazing. Can I work with you? Or do you only work with investors? I'm like, no, I work with anyone. And that helped me grow. Starting out with those investors. Helped me build a tremendous amount of relationships.
So just quick question on the investor thing. So are you saying you help them on their purchase or you help them on the resale?
The resale.
Getting people pre-qualified, verifying the buyers, making sure they could do what they said they were going to do and close the loan in a short amount of time.
Resale for consumers.
And that you leverage because now they were saying must qualify with Rodrigo on all their flip deals.
Right.
Now that's like more signs in the yard.
Yes.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Directing people towards your phone number, seeing your name.
Absolutely. They didn't have to work with me. I just had to put my eyes on it and say thumbs up, thumbs down, or not going to work. Because back in the day, people would just create an approval letter, say, here you go. And then halfway down the transaction, oh, sorry, you don't qualify.
Yeah.
Which still happens nowadays. But yeah, that was really, really helpful with the MLS, and I grew a lot of relationships that way. And I mean, that was the beginning for me. 2012, 13, 14, 15, it was a permanent upward trend, growing accounts, building relationships. Started working with different real estate offices, different real estate brokers and their teams, and it just kept going. And
why do you think that they liked working with you? Because obviously, lenders are a dime a dozen in the business, right? So to get an account like 3 Keller Williams, and building the relationships that you're building, how were you able to do that?
Reliability, perseverance, right? I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't say no. I was always saying yes, but I would deliver on my yes. Accountability. If somebody called me, I would answer. If they said, I need you to close tomorrow, I'd make it happen. I mean, I could tell we would even close loans, still missing items, but we would hold the loan, but still make it close. I mean, we would do the impossible for people because we had 2 clients, right? We had the agent referring the business, and then we had the consumer, which was the buyer.
Right.
And we needed to please everybody. I think that's why. Once they knew that I wasn't just doing 1 or 2 or 3 loans, I was doing 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and closing all of them under 30 days without any problems. I mean, honestly, it was phenomenal. So that really helped. I think it was dependability, accountability, perseverance, and just, handshake, right? If I told you I was going to do something, it's happening.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of missing in the industry today.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of under-promising or over-promising, under-delivering going on.
Yeah, over-promising. And then there's a lot of people, too, in the industry that are, example, realtors and lenders. They're trying to double dip, right? Or people that were doing 2 or 3 jobs and they had their license and they thought they can do it, but they would give the consumer and everyone else in the transaction a horrible experience. I mean, there's so many stories out there of like, oh my God, this guy put me through hell. And yeah, I stuck to what I was great at. I mastered something. It's not mastered all the way. I learn every single day. I improve. But thanks to my team and my systems, all the systems, I think 2008, 9, 10, I mean, the technology just kept getting better and better and better. In Salesforce, I love Salesforce, kept improving and improving and improving. And then you can do the automated texting, the automated emails. You could do the voice dials, the slide dial. I mean, oh my goodness, all these tools that were available, I just loved them. I mean, that's the future of business.
Yeah.
Automation.
I love it.
Call, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah, set your systems up right. Let it do the automated follow-up for you. And you just go out and build the relationships.
That's it. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you pick up the phone, you call the client, you call the realtor, you communicate. You can also just rely on automation. We love doing integrated text and email because in our industry, we do email.
Okay.
But in 90% of other industries, people aren't allowed to use their personal email, right? You have to use the work email. So we make sure we text, right? And then I also video text.
I was going to say, tell me about some of the things you're doing, because I
Sure.
see you like lighting up, getting excited about this
Yeah.
topic, so I can tell you're
So
passionate about it.
I love systems.
Okay.
I love the process of communication. There's never too much communication. Like my best compliment I can get is, dude, I get all your emails, and I get your texts, like stop. Like you don't need to do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That
Totally.
right? Because the biggest complaint is, dude, the guy doesn't pick up the phone. I don't know what's going on. So I over communicate. And I make sure that everyone, not just the realtor, the buyer, but escrow, title, all parties are involved with what's going on every single step of the way. We do video text messages to the client. Hey, your loan's been approved. This is what's going to happen now. This is what we're going to ask you, right? If I can't get a hold of them, I'm going to give them a little video.
And who's doing those videos? Who's shooting those videos?
Me, myself, and I with my cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you use to facilitate that?
I used to use BombBomb.
BombBomb?
I just use a good old iPhone.
Oh, you're just literally sending them an iPhone video?
Literally.
Okay.
I would also use my little camera on my computer screen. It's, what do you call that system? I don't remember right now. But putting the camera and then putting a nice little background in back of me, right? Whatever it is, I believe that you can do anything as long as you do it. Doesn't matter what background you're doing. Doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter if you have a wall in back of you. But as long as you're actually trying to communicate, they're going to understand the point of what you're trying to do. But
and what I love about what you just said is, if you're just doing a video update, then you're able to update a lot of people in a short amount of time, as opposed to getting on the phone with everyone and then possibly getting, down the rabbit hole, long conversations. It's a great way to keep people updated while still, for you as the business owner, being able to run like in an efficient way.
Absolutely. And, I'll give you an example. The biggest pet peeve of realtors is, hey, here's all my leads, call them for me. I haven't talked to them in like 2 years, but call them for me. It's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Right? I can't do it all, but all right, guys, let's go. Start pounding the phones. Pizza night. Let's go. We're calling. We call it smile and dial, right? But then you've got all these systems where you can create all these text messages and emails and voice recordings and put them in step drip patterns. And you can hit 200 leads that could be 1 to 5 years old, that most people already threw in the trash in the delete bucket. And you can get business out of it by automation. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Especially if those leads are internet leads. Because
absolutely.
According to most of the studies, like the average internet lead takes 16 to 18 months before they actually close. And most people are stopping way before that in terms of like their follow-up. So if you're able to come in the 2 year mark and hit them with tons of, we call it land, sea, and air, right? You hit them with voicemails, emails, physical mail, phone calls. That's how you can drum up a lot of business.
Absolutely. And all it comes down to is follow-up.
Yeah.
Right? And continually following up, because most people will do that 3 call and they're done.
Yeah.
All right, trash, next. This lead sucked, broker. Give me another one. Hey, Mr. Lender, here's another one. But you have to have campaigns, right? I have 6-month, 12-month, 1 year, 2 year anniversaries. I don't care what it is. If I have a reason to reach out to you, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because why not? There's so much business and opportunity and referrals out there that just call someone. Hey, happy birthday. Hey, happy anniversary. How's the house? Happy New Year. Blah, 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 blah. But then you do it all automated, right? I can say, congratulations, it's been a year since you bought your house. Let me know if you have any questions. And I can send that to 100 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what are you using? What system do you use to do all of that follow-up?
I've got multiple systems. Depends what drip campaign I'm trying to do. We have Big Purple Dot, Salesforce. We still work a lot with HubSpot.
Okay.
But personally,
HubSpot's for your texting?
HubSpot's for the lead intake. Salesforce really does everything. So Salesforce, you literally tweak to do whatever. Salesforce with Follow-Up Boss, we text, we email, we do videos, and then anything that comes in just comes into the machine, and that machine, or the Salesforce machine, right? We call it Jungo for us lenders. And then it goes to my team, and then whoever can do it, boom, 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 you start filtering, calling, picking up the phone.
And Salesforce is the one running the back-end automation.
Salesforce does it all, right? It's whatever template you create, that's how it's going to run.
It's great.
It's amazing. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And, it's not about picking up the phone and calling 300 people. It's about creating one killer campaign and sending it to 300 people.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. And then seeing who raises their hands, and then based on the hand raisers, now you're following up with 10 to 15 people as opposed to 300.
That's right. And, all these online leads, hey, I'm going to keep reaching out until they say, leave me alone.
Definitely.
The second they leave me alone, that's when I click the button that says opt out.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for replying.
Right, exactly.
My shit works.
Yeah. Either buy or get off the list.
Yeah.
Either one is fine.
Yeah. Clearly you were interested, so I'm just following up.
Totally. What are you doing now to grow your business? What's next?
So the last 2 years have been all about growth, building. I'm just trying to work. Before it was work with 500 agents, right? Work with everyone. But that system really doesn't work, or that method, because some people want you to open house here or there, call this guy, and everything overlaps. So I've turned my business into accounts where I can work with top people, but not just like one top person, a team. Because I have a team and they have a team, and different personalities attract one another, and they may want to not call me, call my right-hand guy, my left-hand gal, whatever, but they're so inaccessible. So that way the whole team understands, hey, Rodrigo's team is awesome. We can always get a hold of them. And it's not just one person. As that real estate agent grows their team and they have 2, 4, 6, 10, 20 people, they'll all still come to me, which is amazing, as opposed to going to 10 different lenders, because I can fulfill and service that entire team. So my mentality's been go after team building. How do you do it? How do you master it? And then by having a back-end team in my office, I'm allowed to go and walk and just do what we call like little milk routes, right? Hey, what's going on? What's up? How are you? Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
How's everything going? Anything we can do better? Cool. And then I can just do my thing. And they're like, hey, Rodrigo, I just got an email from you, but you're here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
you
everything.
sure did.
I've got all my systems going. My team is sometimes emailing as me when I'm away from the office. That way I don't miss it. Text messages, get whatever it is. There's always somebody responding, because the last thing I want is them telling me, dude, you're not responsive, we're going to the next guy.
Which is definitely, without a doubt, the number one complaint about lenders.
Absolutely.
Is lack of response, lack of communication.
And also, look, no one's perfect.
Right.
Of course I've missed text messages on Saturdays at 10 o'clock at night. Whatever. But the point is, no one's perfect, but every day you can master and create and see what you can do better. That's what we call auto response. Hey, I'm currently in a meeting, I'll get right back to you.
Yep.
As long as you give them something back, you're good.
And then actually follow up when you're done with that meeting.
Following up. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing you just said that I think I heard you say is that you have other people answering your emails for you.
Yes.
Do you have someone else that manages your email box?
Yes.
Because that's something that I struggle with a lot, and I would love to get your feedback on how to do and how you were able to like let that go, and then how you manage them managing it.
So it's called delegation and letting go.
Yeah.
It takes us a long time to let go. Example, my biggest pet peeve is spelling. If you're going to send an email as me, you better spell that thing right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There is a spell checker built in.
Yeah, and sometimes from and form and whatever, there's all these words. Read it twice. Maybe you can change it, make it sound smarter. But delegation, I mean, it took me a while to let go, but what it allowed me more than anything, it gave me freedom and family time. We're always on our phone. Yeah. I mean, I get home and I'm on my phone. It's like, it doesn't stop.
Never stops, yeah.
I mean, I sleep with my phone next to my bed or on the counter right here, right? Yeah. Now I put it on airplane mode at like 10 o'clock. I'm like, okay, I wake up at 4, boom, back on. But it's developing the system to where, okay, hey, you. I'm going out of town. These are the deals we have going. These are the leads. Here's everything. You have a pipeline meeting of everything that's going on before you leave. Or if you leave an appointment out of town, whatever it may be. This is what you can and can't reply. Anything that you can't answer, that I need to specifically answer, we're going to put it under a column called read. Read is the only email I'm going to check.
Okay.
My inbox is going to go to you. But my read is anything that you're going to drag because I need to answer.
So that's the Rodrigo folder.
That's a Rodrigo folder when I'm out.
Okay.
Because let's say I'm in somewhere cool, Mexico, surfing like Punta Mita or Sayulita, and then randomly I'll get a text message saying, check your read. That's all I'm going to get.
Perfect. So you know what that means? That's like the bat phone.
That's the bat phone. That means, hey, I need your attention on something real quick. And then I'll look at it, and then I'll reply back. There you go. Okay, bye.
Perfect.
And it's being able to count on someone to do it, right? And that's just.
And how long did it take you to train that person or your team to be able to respond like you in your voice, know what to say, know what not to say?
I think there's only 2 people that are in my team that know how I think, know how I talk, know how I respond to different people, right? And there are people that have been working with me, some 10 years, some 5 years, some 7 years. But there's 2 main people that I personally developed that trust. Like, you can run my business with me. You know how I think. So you know what to reply as Rodrigo. You know?
Perfect.
Just because I talk and I'll say an F word, don't put that F word in the email, dude. But they know how to communicate and get it done right. And when the emails go out, it's me. The biggest complaint you get is, let's say when you're out of town, oh, your team member asked me for this, but I already sent it to you before you left out of town, and this and this. Too many hands in the cookie jar.
Right.
Bad.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of big producers have that problem where they have huge teams. They're not as involved. They're more unplugged, disconnected, but their business goes to shit because they're not managing it right. And they have too many people. So if you just have one name, one team email, however it is, whatever works for you, and you really manage it daily, you'll be fine. You'll be able to rely on your team to reply as you, send an email as you, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And then what about like sensitive information? Do you use a different email? Like, let's say your accountant sends you your P&L for the month, and that's not really something you probably want circulating out there. So
it's all about trust.
So you just let it roll, same email.
I let it go. You know what? I don't hide anything. I'm very transparent. I have my own personal email for whatever, but that's not my work email. My work email, I'm transparent. I don't hide anything. If a P&L comes through, they know better than to check. I mean, let's talk about systems. I can tell you when someone opens up an email and when they read it, and if they really read it, if they open an attachment or not, right? Or if they just filed it.
So is that just, hey, leave those unread? Anything that comes from my accountant, leave unread, or anything that comes from my lawyer, leave unread?
100%. But sometimes I'll get, hey, this email came through, it said urgent. So I read it and I'm texting you right now. You need to call them, like right now.
Right.
So I have that trust with people. And let me explain something else along with trust. You got to take care of the people. The people that you trust with your business, you better damn well take care of them. Right? You got to pay them great, make them feel loved and appreciated every single day. Thank them for everything that they're doing, not just for me, but for the overall business, because I'm nothing without them.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's a team effort.
Love that. That's great advice, man. I appreciate that a lot because it's, like I said, it's something I've struggled with for a long time. I feel way overwhelmed by my email box and I'm ready to let it go. I just need some guidance on how to let it go without getting burnt.
Yeah, I mean, there's also filters. I mean, I'm sure you get a gazillion emails, right? You can create filters. Like I would get 400 emails on appraisals daily. It was the most obnoxious thing.
Right.
So then via Outlook, which we use Outlook for email, we just did certain keywords. When a certain keyword comes from a certain email, we created a separate inbox. So everything goes in that inbox.
So that doesn't even come to you. It just gets kicked to the appraisal box or whatever.
So I've got like Rodrigo as one email, Team Bayonne as another email, Introduction as another email, and all the emails automatically get filtered in.
That's great.
So it simplifies it to the eye, right? All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I got 500 emails now. Everything's ready to go. Here are my buckets. I know what I need to do.
Great tips, man. Really good stuff. So we talked a little bit about how agents are always getting bombarded by lenders and they always, they don't really know who to work with, who not to work with.
Right.
And I want to throw a Facebook question out there that I got. By the way, if you're not in the Real Closers Facebook group, you might want to jump on it. It's facebook.com/realclosers. It's free to join. We try to make these interviews interactive. So this question came from Molly Winkle. Shout out to Molly Winkle. I actually thought this one was pretty funny because I know a lot of lenders do this, and I just wanted to get your perspective on it. Okay. She says, are you a let me take you to coffee and show you how to build your business kind of lender, or do you take the time to learn that I actually drink Red Bull? In the same vein, do you provide the tools that are actually different to help build the business, or the same things we get anywhere else?
So number one, I think back in the day, everyone was like, hey, let's go to lunch. I don't do lunches. I fucking hate lunches. It's a waste of time. I don't have an
I don't
hour.
eat food.
I don't have an hour to sit with you and talk about nothing that isn't going to make sense to business. Like
For either one of you, really.
For either one of you,
Right.
no. If we're going to sit, it's going to be in my office or your office, somewhere where it's going to be straight business. It'll be fun, educational, but it's going to be business. It's not going to be loud. It's going to be to the point. And we're going to review everything. And yeah, knowing someone is like what Molly said in this instance, right? It's know what they want, know what they like. Example, when I prospect realtors, I need to know more about them than they think I know about them. So I'm gonna
Okay, I love this. Go on.
I'm gonna go on Facebook. I'm gonna see who they're friends with. I'm gonna see their posts. I'm gonna see what they like. Do they like sports? Do they like the beach? Do they like hiking? Whatever it may be. That way, when I speak to them, I can drop something and say, hey, we have this in common. If I see when they go through, example, Facebook, seeing their posts, oh man, this guy said this, does anyone have a solution, whatever, I could relay and say, hey, previously you were asking about this, let me tell you how we do things. It's knowing more about them than they'll think from the first appointment.
A little bit of recon.
A little bit of recon. One thing I also do daily is check numbers. So let's say you're a top realtor in 5 different areas, 5 different zip codes. I'm gonna look to see how much activity you're doing. I'm gonna check what type of clientele you're working with, whether it's a first-time buyer, a jumbo buyer, whatever. It's gonna tell me who the lender is that you work with. And it's gonna tell me how long that lender took to close the loan.
Wow.
So I like doing all my homework ahead of time. That way I sound smart and educated and saying, hey, I know you're working with this guy for 3 years. Awesome, that's fantastic. But I see a common pattern that he's closing in 40 days every single time. How'd you know that? Well, I researched it. Yeah, I don't know why, but he said that's normal. VA loans take 40 days. Actually, no, they don't. I can close them in 14 days or less. That's impossible. No, nothing's impossible. And then
This is El Zorro.
El Zorro. And you got to roll the R's. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on, Spanish class helped a little.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's knowing more about them than what you think. And yeah, I don't like doing lunches and this and that. I just like meeting in my office or meeting in their office, getting to the point. Let's figure out. Even when we do first-time homebuyer seminars, right? We invite people you have to respect people's time. There you go. You have to respect people's time. No one has 2 or 3 hours. I don't. I mean, seriously, I'll go to the movies for 2 or 3 hours. That's it. I'll go to my kid's soccer game for 2 or 3 hours. That's it. Otherwise,
Totally.
I just, my attention goes, I need to do something else right now. My brain just moves quick. So you have to respect people's time, whether it's a client, whether it's a realtor, get to the point, do the education, but make sure they understand everything they're asking you, right? Don't just be the guy talking, trumping the person. Shut up, listen to what they're telling you, interpret it, and then give a really good answer and solution. That way you're literally taking care of them and making them feel like, oh my God, it's all about me right now.
Right.
Right? And
Make me feel important. That's how everyone
make
wants.
me feel special.
Yeah. So I love what you said right there about doing a little bit of recon in advance.
Right.
I think that just that simple step, which is super easy to do, just check someone's social media, find out what they're into, what their likes are, what they're passionate about, what challenges they're facing, right? And then offer solutions, commonalities, ways to bridge the gap between the average lender and everybody else. So, and then the other part that I said that I really liked about what you just said was how you research the numbers, because I think that not only in your game, but in any game, right? If you're an agent, you need to know the numbers of the market. So when you go to a seller, you know what you're talking about. When you're a lender and you're going to agents, like how much does that lower their guard when you say, oh, I know that you're working with Sally Sue at XYZ Mortgage Company and you have for X number of years and it takes X amount of time to close. I mean, you're halfway in the door at that point.
That's right.
And then what I also, I want to give you a shout out on this is you also do little extra things. And me and my business partner, Sam, we were at our Winner's Circle event in Palm Springs. And all of a sudden we get back I get back to the room and there's a bucket of ice and a bottle of bubbly, courtesy of Rodrigo. And this was when we were first talking about getting into business together. And And I thought that was a really nice touch and a really great way to get attention and a really great way to stand out from everybody else, because it was totally unexpected. It was out of left field. It was at the event we were hosting, so it like made us feel special, or whatever you want to call it. And I think those little things to differentiate yourself will go a long way to move the needle.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely. And I've done that for several people, even people I don't work with that I'm not even prospecting. Like I've sent a team once, I think it was like 28 bottles of champagne. I called their assistant. I'm like, hey, you guys just hit the #1 team. How many people do you have? 28. Is that everyone? Assistants? Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. Boom. Delivered to their office. 2 weeks later, I got a phone call. Hey, sorry, I was out of town. I just came to the office and everyone told me, like, wow, like, thank you. I'm like, well, no, I just want to congratulate you.
Congratulations.
Boom. Hey, why don't you come? We're actually looking to, check out different lenders, different opportunities. I did the same on closings to other people, I just think it's that extra touch of what you're doing.
Yeah. It's the unexpected and it's the wow factor.
Yeah.
Like, oftentimes people talk about being remarkable, right? People think remarkable means, oh, that's cool, but it really means worth making a remark over, right?
Yes.
So if you can do something remarkable by sending 28 people a bottle of champagne, that's gonna get talked about, not only amongst their team, but that's the type of thing that spreads through the industry. Right now, all of a sudden, Rodrigo sounds like the man, because for probably $1,000, you sent a lot of champagne.
Yeah, and yes, and it better be a good bottle of champagne, because you want to make an impression, and it's those little things, but it's paying attention to detail. And again, going back to knowing more than what they think you know about them. Social media is a great way. Everyone's posting, hi, I checked into whatever restaurant. Cool. Let me see if I know the bartender so they can get you a shot. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But as long as you reach out and you're different, right? You got to think, what can I do different than the common person delivering a calendar, delivering cookies, delivering waters, delivering this? Think outside the box. Do something cool.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
Love it. That's great insight. So when you're working with these different agents, and this is another Facebook question I want to throw your way, do you look at them like partners, or do you look at them like lead generators? And I want to throw out one from, again, the Real Closers Facebook group, Todd Burrows. If I send you a client referral and you make $6,000, I don't know why I said $6,000, that's kind of a random number, but you make a commission check.
Sure.
Do you plan to send me a $5 Starbucks gift card? Honestly, mortgage brokers should be sending qualified, verified leads to the realtors who feed them their business. Your response.
Yeah, so let's respond to that one first. So, number one, I'm not a real estate agent, right? My job is to get the loans done.
Yes.
However, my job is to get the job done flawlessly so that client refers more business to their realtor saying, my God, thank you for referring Rodrigo. He was amazing. Not only did he explain this, but he went above and beyond and did this and this and that. It had nothing to do with what he needed to do. Oh my gosh, so I'm going to give you my neighbor, my this. Please have him, help him sell their house, help him buy a house, and make sure that they call Rodrigo. It's about referrals. Now, let's go back to that. Number one, am I going to give them all my buyers? I mean, let's be realistic. I'm a lender. Now, do I have random people call me? Absolutely. And the way that I work is I look at my sphere, I look to see, who sends us the business, and then we rotate people. I've sent people to business in different places. I'm a firm believer that, example, if we're in San Diego right now, and if somebody's buying in Los Angeles, which is 2 hours away, I'm not going to refer it to a San Diego agent.
Right.
I'm going to look at my sphere, call it social media, and I'm going to find a top professional that has sent me business, and I'm going to send it that way. If it's someone local that always sends me business and I get a buyer, I like, reciprocating. But I don't get those. I mean, I'll get maybe honestly less than 2, 3, maybe 5 a year, randomly.
Yeah.
But I always like referring it to the people that send me business, but that are actually kind. There's a lot of people in this industry that are not kind. And while they can send you business, of course, I'm always going to do whatever I can. And Starbucks cards, that's funny because, yeah, You know, we like sending Starbucks cards, but something I do personally is I send scratchers. So if you win that 500 grand, keep it. I don't need a penny from it. But we like sending scratchers because they're fun. It's like, why'd you just send me a scratcher? Why not? Anybody can go drink one coffee.
Totally.
Right?
But I'm trying to make you $1 million.
Yeah, I'm trying to make you money.
Yeah, totally.
And you know, another thing we do with realtors is, you know, help them with whatever we can with marketing. We have graphic designers that work with us. We have ideas. We have solutions. We have all the systems. Like all the systems that I have to help convert leads, they don't have to pay for. I have the systems. So it's just a matter of them handing stuff to me, and I will, you know, turn and burn and give it right back.
And what does that look like exactly? So someone can just give you their like old database and you plug it into the machine?
That's right. Literally, it's that simple. You give me an Excel spreadsheet, and if you don't know how to do Excel, we will type it in for you, and we'll put it in, and we'll have all the systems run it. And we'll do texting, we'll do voicemails, we'll do emails, and your 200 leads that you've had for 5 years, I may give you one buyer, but that one buyer is someone that's been in that pool for X amount of time that you didn't bother to call, that I just gave right back to you.
Yeah, and they're probably already qualified at that point.
It probably already had a realtor,
right?
But because they're going to reach out again, it may impress them. So it's just a matter of how you look at it. But that was a fantastic question.
Yeah, I love it. I thought it was kind of funny as well. And to your point, like I think that's also kind of a misconception in terms of like, oh, if I refer you business, you should refer me business, because like I don't think lenders really come across a lot of you know, people that are unrepresented. Most lenders get their business from the business professionals like realtors and other people, but a lot of them are already represented, right? So you're going to give the handful that you get to your top people, which totally makes sense. And then the other part of that is, to your point, like if someone's in North County looking to buy a place, you're not going to refer them to a South County agent. You want to refer them to someone that knows that local market and knows the, you know, all the ins and outs and can get them the best deal at the best price.
Absolutely, and it's also having that vision of like-minded people. If I have a wine connoisseur example that has a lot of land and somewhere else, and I know a realtor that also shares that same philosophy of land and wine and the vision and relaxation, and that's super cool, I'm like, you guys are going to get along fantastic. I'm going to hook them up. So it's not always about giving back to the top people. It's about who you really believe will work best with that other person. Because you want to give them a phenomenal experience.
Definitely. That's something I keep hearing you say, and I'm a big believer in that as well, is that the customer experience is really the utmost of important thing as far as everything goes. I mean, there can be problems, there can be challenges, but as long as you're over communicating and handling it and getting it closed at the end of the day and delivering on what you said you were going to do, ultimately you're going to win the game.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I say probably every month, you're as good as your last deal. I can close 100 deals, but if I did a really crappy job
on number 101,
on 101, that person can go cray-cray on social media and slander me and do this and say, oh, he's an ass, but. So let's avoid that, and let's give everyone the same attention, the same customer service. Take your time and answer the questions, right? A lot of people are busy. If someone wants to talk to me, we're going to set a time, we're going to talk. Sometimes I talk to a client for 52 minutes with all these questions, and I'm like, are we good? Okay, good, let's go.
The super analytical with 300 questions.
The engineers.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's important, again, going back to making them feel important and answering the questions, but you just have to, every deal counts. Literally every deal counts. So don't think you're too good. Don't just go to the next one. The $200,000 and the $1 million, or let's talk Midwest, the $100,000 and the $300,000, $400,000, it's the same person. No one's better than one another. They may qualify differently now, but you don't know who they're linked to. You don't know their sphere. You don't know the referral base that can come from them.
Every year's a new year.
Absolutely, and you know, every transaction is an opportunity to get at least 3 referrals from.
So I think that another big thing, I'm gonna go back to one more Facebook question. This one's from Terry Holden, and this actually came up from a lot of people in the thread, and I think it's a common frustration, and that's that lenders don't pick up the phone. And so the question was, do you answer your phone, and do you work nights and weekends? And then Carolyn Stevenson Morrow added, if I'm working on the weekends, my lender better be too. How do you respond to that?
So I'm going to start off by saying, remember that movie Multiplicity?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You can't be everywhere at once. So you have to have systems ready to go in
Yep.
case you're not available. I always answer my phone. If I'm available, I'm answering my phone. Weekends, that's my busiest time. Like literally my phone will start ringing realistically like 7:30, 8 a.m. Because people start showing homes, right? Most people work 9 to 5, so the weekends is
Yep.
when they get ready.
Open houses.
Hey, Rodrigo, I'm going to need 4 approval letters, each one of them a different amount. Okay, let's do it.
Yep.
Right? So I'm always working on my phone, like if it's my computer, but I'm always answering. I always have my headphones on. I'm always working weekends, nights, mornings, holidays. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you a funny story. When my wife was delivering our 3rd baby, I was speaking with this top producer in the nation named Ruth Pugh.
Okay.
And she called me, and I'm talking to her, and then I'm like, hey, Ruth, I have to call you back. My wife's about to have a baby in like 3, 2, 1. She's like, what are you doing talking to me? Hang up. Well, I had to answer your call.
Yeah. Wow.
And she'll vouch to that. It was hilarious. But it's doing what you need to do to take care of the client. Going back, the client is a realtor, the client is a consumer. And yeah, now if I'm out of town and it's midnight, yeah, I don't think I'm going to answer the phone, but I'll get back to you the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people, also let me add one more thing. A lot of people say, I must have a lender at my open house every single time. You have to have a lender there. Reality is we all have lives, but we can work remote. You know, I'm not the type of person that's going to go to 100 open houses, but I do like doing pop-bys. You know, this year for Q1, I started doing 4 to 6 open houses, Saturdays and Sundays, and I would just roll around and I would take Cravery cookies, really delicious cookies, top, there you go, and I would just pop by. I'd come unannounced. And people appreciated that because I would hang out for like at least 30 minutes, but people would come by and I was there.
Yeah.
So stuff like that's cool that I like doing randomly, but I'm always available.
And that, honestly, that's another perfect example of you just going that little bit extra mile, right? Like, I don't know many lenders that are just popping by open houses and delivering cookies. Like, that's the type of thing that's going to leave an impression with someone for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I've also, when I started in the industry, I would go to I would look at the newspaper before really the internet was blowing up, and I would figure out who was going to be in an open house. So I'd print a flyer, like 20 of them, and I'd go, and I would deliver it. And they're like, I don't know who you are, but I don't need your flyers. Okay, cool, thanks, bye. But now I'll just go with delicious cookies that smell, so delicious.
Now they're like, thank you for the cookies.
Wow,
thank you
who
so
are
much.
you? Thank you. Would you like to stay?
Yeah, it's a great
You know,
move.
just think, going back, think outside the box, and yeah, hopefully that answered that question. You know, I mean, we can't always make ourselves available at random hours because everyone has a life.
Of course.
But as long as you get back to them and say, hey, quick text, give me an hour, give me
Yeah.
30 minutes, give me 10 minutes. Sometimes an hour is too long because they're right then and there. If I get a text message saying, I'm at an open house right now, I have a buyer ready to go, I don't speak Spanish. Can you please call me right now? I'm
You're
gonna
gonna be all over
literally,
that.
I'm gonna stop what I'm doing. Or if I mean, Spanish, I'll just throw it out there. But when I get those text messages, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing. And there's a lot of people that I work with that can vouch that, dude, he's always on it. Because that's the most valuable client for a realtor, because it's an organic buyer that walked into an open house. Hey, if you're taking the time to do an open house, I'm going to take the time to qualify that client. I don't care if it's the weekend. I don't care if I'm at the beach. I have a calculator on my phone. I have email on my phone. I have text on my phone. I can do it all.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And is your team working also, or is it just you that kind of holds down the
my
fort?
right
Or the bat
hand,
phone?
my right hand loan partner that helps on all the loans. He's always working. But generally, everyone else, no.
Nice.
You know, unless they get a personal call from me.
Right.
Saying, hey, I need your help on something.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, everyone's got a life and they already work their ass off
great.
during the week for the team. So,
Cool.
yeah.
So I want to kind of segue into some lending questions.
Okay.
And I want to keep them
Not boring.
not boring, you know, kind of insightful and higher level.
Cool.
The first thing I want to ask is, I hear this a lot from you, and that's that you have a 14-day average close.
Yes.
And to me, and I think to a lot of the people, they're thinking, yeah, right, that's impossible, right? Same thing you mentioned earlier. So A, like, how are you doing that? And B, what are kind of like the stipulations in order that need to fall into place to be able to make that happen?
So let me go backwards. Back in the day when we were doing the flips, everybody was asking for 30, 35, 40 days. I threw out there, I told all the investors I work with, let's do 17 days. No one has it. No one's marketing it. So at all the open houses over the weekends, I'd have literally probably close to 50 different properties at once with my flyers. 17-day close, right? And then other people started copying me. I dropped it a 14-day close. And then most people started copying me. 10-day close. I even went on social media and I said, I'll close your loan in 7 days. If I don't, I'll give you $5,000 to the seller as a credit to the seller.
Yeah.
The reason you're able to do that is number one, confidence,
Okay.
right? Number two, the systems. So what I do with most clients is instead of waiting until they're in escrow in a transaction to start collecting the paperwork and running everything by an underwriter and getting it approved, we get the loans approved ahead of time. So let's say today's, let's make up a day, Wednesday, and we know they're going to go house shopping Saturday.
Yep.
I'm going to take Wednesday to reach out to the client, walk them through the process, and ask him to email me paperwork. By Friday, hopefully they've emailed me everything. That way they're 100% really approved, not just a Word document pre-approval. They're legit approved. And then when the agent is making that offer, I'm going to tell them to make a 14-day closing period. Most people are like, why take 30 days? Well, in a multiple offer situation, and here's Mr. Cash Guy.
Yep.
Mr. Cash Guy isn't going to close in one day. They like doing 10 to 12 a day closes. That way they can do their due diligence, and half the time they really have hard money and they lie and they're going to get a wire and they need that to come in.
Yeah.
But I'll be ready to close ahead of time. So when you give a 14-day offer, you're presenting the seller something attractive that's tangible, like, wow, well, yeah, this offer may be $5,000 shorter, but 14 days compared to 30 days, and I don't even know. Let's just go with this guy. I like their aggressiveness. And it's having a team that's able to do that, right? I can call, push, do what I need to do, but I also rely on my back-end team. So if you don't have a strong team that can handle volume, if you're a onesie-twosie, one deal, two deal, sure.
Yeah.
But when you're doing 20, 30, 40, 60 transactions, you better have that team, and that team better be ready to deliver. Because again, I'm the sales guy. It starts with me, but I'm nothing without my team. So everyone's got to be on the same page.
They got to back it all up.
Yeah, here we go. Here's Rodrigo again doing one of these 14 days. Let's go. Everyone's ready because we do our job ahead of time. And then when the deal starts day one, clock starts ticking, we're literally 50% done.
How are you able to be so confident on a 14-day close? Like, they've already gone through underwriting in advance, or are you very tied in with underwriting?
70% of the time, I've already looked at 75% of the paperwork.
And you just know based on your experience that this is going to fly, yes or no?
Yes. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time where you can give me a pay stub, and let's say I looked at your credit report, I'll say you're good, right? I don't need to wait a week or 5 days because I don't know how to do math and I'm relying on 3 people, because 90% of the industry does not know what they're doing. They rely on underwriters and processors to do their number crunching.
Yeah.
No. And that's something you get with doing loans or in whatever industry you're in, mastering the industry that you specialize in. No one likes on a Saturday, oh, my underwriter will be in on Monday. They're not working over the weekend. I'll let you know if they're approved Monday. No. You have to know how to approve them. And sometimes at open houses, people will actually have their paperwork in an email because they send it to another lender. Like the big boy banks that you walk into, they take at least a week to get you qualified. But the client has that email where they hit send. I'll say, hey, send it to me real quick.
Yep.
I've even done it where I've been driving and I've pulled over and I'm like, hey, I can't pull your credit right now because I'm driving and I don't have my computer, but what was your credit score? Tell me your debts, car loans, student loans, credit cards. How about overall history, bankruptcy, short sale? No, I have nothing. Literally, like, I have this. I'm like, okay, cool. What are you for a job? Oh, I'm a manager at the Home Depot. I've been there for 12 years. I'm like, okay, cool. You sound super solid. You know what you're doing. Right, soliciting and saying, does this guy have bad credit or does he have good credit? Right, you can kind of tell by the way they speak and how on top they are of their finances and their numbers and everything else.
Yeah.
And I'll approve them right then and then. I'll say, okay, 15-day, 14-day, 10-day, go. So
sounds
it's knowing it's
ballsy.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Have
you ever been wrong?
Twice.
And what happened?
One, the client didn't tell me the truth. They had private loans that weren't recorded on properties nor on credit. And then one guy had like 12 properties, private trust deeds, and they popped up. Banks will get you. and it was denied because they weren't honest. And then another person lost their job.
That's kind of not really much you can do about that.
No. But
that's impressive. And how many times have you done those 14-day loans?
oh man, I've been promoting them for 14 days. I've really been promoting, I'd say, for like the last 4 years. But that's 17 today, man. Since 2012, I came up with that because there was so much competition back in the day with the short sales and REOs. I'm like, how can I be different? If I want to work with everyone and get all this business, what can I offer to the sellers that would be attractive? And most people can't do that. To this day, most people can't close in 20 days.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So I think like 21 day now was more like the norm. 21 to 30 day. But offer a 14 day. Be confident. Stand out.
And you've done hundreds of these and only twice it's not worked out.
Hundreds of them. And I don't want to say it's being cocky. It's more knowing what you're saying and delivering on what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And hey, if you know it's going to be 15 days, you better pick up that phone and call everybody and apologize that you're going to be 1 day late for whatever reason, whether the buyer delayed it, whether the appraisal took extra time due to a bad inspection, which happens, whatever it may be, just be upfront and honest. And hey, when I don't close on time, I give credits. I'm like, hey, my bad. Let me pay for your appraisal. My bad. Let me pay for a per diem. Let me just give you one, even though just throw it on there. Because
again, a great way to stand out that other people just aren't doing.
It's being a gentleman. It's that handshake or a lady, right? It's just having that handshake doing business. Another thing we should talk about are all these different products that are out there, all these non-QM products.
Yeah, one thing you said the other day that really caught my attention is you're like, there's so much free money, cheap money out there, and that really obviously caught my attention, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners' attention as well. Tell me more about that.
Sure. So in every market, there's different loans, and I think our market is so good right now, and the banking industry as a whole, that everyone's just has money available, right? No money down loans, no closing cost loans, 100% loans, but you have to qualify on paper.
Okay.
Right? You have to literally qualify. There's also loans out there, not just free money, but the self-employed person. Let's say a realtor.
Yeah,
Let's say
that's funny you bring that up.
owner.
That was my next question, is how to get loans for entrepreneurs and agents.
So let's talk with the people that don't have money. Check it out. You have no money? No problem. We have money for you. Your credit sucks? No problem. We'll help you fix it. There's so many resources available. Example, we're in California, so the state of California, every single state has loan products available. Every city has loan products available. You just have to qualify in that box with your income and your credit. But there's free money available. Most people are paying $2,200 to $2,800 in rent here, let's say in San Diego. Where that's like a $400,000 mortgage that you can get on a killer 3-bedroom condo and own it and be a homeowner and put money in your pocket, have that equity instead of paying the landlord's rent or mortgage, excuse me. However, besides all the first-time home buyers and all that money available, non-QM loans, bank statement loans are huge. I probably do about 3 to 5 a month. And it's from the landscaper to the big business owner to the realtor, to the carpenter, to the painter. It's essentially anybody that either handles cash and deposits cash, or the person that gets checks but doesn't like claiming it on the IRS, or the person that does say, hey, yeah, I made $600,000, but I have to write off $620. Why $620? Well, I had a lot of meals. Okay, cool. And it's, okay, well, you don't qualify on taxes per se, but let me see your bank statements. We take their deposits and we analyze them either over 12 or 24 months.
And is that for personal or on the business?
Both.
Either or both?
Either.
Okay.
So some people like depositing it on their personal bank account. Other people took the time to go to the bank and open up a business account.
Right.
Some people divvy it up. Doesn't matter. You can crisscross. We call that blended. A little of this, a little of that. They may even have a W-2. I'll use that also. There's a lot of creative ways that we can qualify people. Especially, I mean, realtors. There's so many realtors that are not homeowners. I mean, it's crazy how many realtors rent and they're out there preaching homeownership. And they didn't know that. I write everything off. Well, why don't you go buy a house and we use bank statement loans. Now, bank statement loans are catered with a higher interest rate. But essentially, it's like a
take.
stated income loan. Most loans right now are in the 3 to 4%, whatever it may be. These loans are usually 1% higher. So bank statement loans are always, no matter what their rate is today, tomorrow, or next year, factor about 1% higher.
Okay.
And that's where a bank statement loan comes in.
So agents and business owners can get basically a stated income loan, obviously verifying bank statements,
Yes.
deposits.
Yes.
What sort of a deposit and credit score are they going to be looking at for something like that?
So ideally, they need at least a 680, and with a 680 score, and if they have 10% down, they can qualify to $1.5 million, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
That's an unbelievable product.
Yeah, and it's a great product because most people that are paying rent are just throwing the money away.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you may get something with a higher rate. Who cares? You got into a house that's now yours. You can decorate it and paint it and do whatever you want. And you're building the American dream, which is real estate, wealth by equity.
Mm-hmm.
And people really don't understand that free money is out there. I mean, it's crazy. I just did a loan on this beautiful beachfront house that was on this show called Big Brother way back in the day. Remember MTV?
Yep.
And it was where they piled I think 15 people and there were cameras everywhere and they're partying in Pacific Beach in the water right on the cliff. And
I remember that. That was, what was that show? Not Road Rules, the other one on MTV.
Wasn't it Big Brother or one of those?
I don't know. It was
Party
one of those.
house? I don't know.
We're dating ourselves. I totally know. Real World.
Real World.
Real World.
And, and that's an example. And that was a $14 million house. This loan isn't just, that's not the loan, that was the house. This loan isn't catered for lower end or higher end. It's catered for everybody. Anybody that manages self-employed business that either has a genius, brilliant CPA that shows you how not to pay tax, and for the person that just handles cash that just doesn't like claiming it. Mm-hmm. As long as you deposit it in the bank, we can use that as income. And that's a phenomenal loan. That product's becoming way more popular.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm surprised that's actually not a lot more popular, especially with 10% down at a 680.
Yeah, it's
great.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
How many of those are you doing?
3 to 5 a month. Like this month, I think we actually have 7 of them.
That's great.
It's just there's a lot of everything, but it's mainly for self-employed, don't qualify on tax paper, ding ding ding, bank statement loan.
Love the bank statement loans. What's up, Michelle?
Qualified.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You can get a loan too. You get a loan.
Yeah.
You get a loan.
You get a loan. Bad credit, no problem.
No problem. No money, no problem. I love it. So when people are getting ready to purchase,
Yes.
what would you say are the main factors that they need to do, clean up, worry about, fix, handle before they talk to you?
And what not to do.
And what not to do.
Example, what not to do? Don't buy a car like a Tesla because your accountant told you to buy it before the end of the year for tax credits. Happened to me yesterday.
Ouch.
Yeah, didn't tell me. Bought it on the 29th.
Mid-purchase.
30th. Yeah, but we're doing a bank statement loan, company car. You're good.
Oh,
no
nice.
problem.
See that?
That's the beauty of these products. Credit, manage your credit. So don't max out your credit cards. If you know you're 2 to 6 months out, try to pay down the balances, leaving them anywhere from 25 to 35% debt compared to what the limit allowed is. Make your payments on time. Don't just think because you missed one payment you'll be fine. It's only one payment. That's the biggest problem with qualifications, people's credit, because that does affect the credit, the interest rate, right? From a 620 to a 660, 660 to 680, 680 to 700, 700 and 720, 720 to 740, and 760 and above, whatever. Those are all different tiers.
Different buckets, right.
Yeah. So if you want to have the best credit, here you go. Get 3 trade lines. So have a credit card, have a Visa card, right? Have a gas card. Use something that's revolving. 3 of them will give you strong credit. Don't get 15, don't get 20. Just get 3. 3 is a great way to go. I mean, I've maintained 3 for a long time, which is fantastic. You can get scores over 800 with just 3. But the second you start missing your payments, that's the second your credit starts going bye-bye. And that'll impact your purchase power because you may qualify really good on paper with income, but your credit must be crappy.
Yep.
It's not going to work. So prepare yourself, plan ahead, Pay your stuff on time, pay your debt down, pay on time, money in the bank. So as bankers, we don't like seeing cash deposits if we're going to do traditional financing. Traditional financing means show me your W-2, show me your bank account, because when you deposit cash, let's say you're in the service industry, like a bartender or a waiter, whatever it may be. You deposit cash tips. You cannot use cash. So I have clients that deposit $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. You cannot use it. So when we say, hey, we need you to have 5% down and 2 months in reserves, reserves mean what your monthly payment is going to be in your mortgage times 2 months. They go, here you go. But then when you go through the bank account, it'll show cash, 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 cash. What's this? Oh, it's money I had under my pillow. Can't use it. So then they have to get a gift from a family member, and it's uncomfortable. Hey, do you mind giving me a gift? I promise that, you don't, a gift means you don't need to get repaid, which most family people don't like hearing that. But that's how we do, right? You get a gift from someone and then you can qualify. But have your money in the bank, have it seasoned for 2 months. Credit, manage low debts, no higher than 35%, payments on time. I mean, that's really it, because income's income. If you know you're going to want to buy a house in a year and you're in the overtime industry where the more overtime you make, you get time and a half, work as much overtime as you can.
Rack it up.
Yeah, because, whether you use 12 months or 24 months, depends what product we use, but that's more income to qualify.
Helps your DTI.
Absolutely,
helps
which means
all that.
more purchase power.
Yep.
More purchase power. And always, don't just go to one person. So most people like going to their bank. When you walk into a bank, you're only going to qualify for that little brick building box, meaning if that bank doesn't think outside the box, they're going to tell you you're denied. But they're not going to say, hey, you may want to try this person. They're not going to do that. So always consult a realtor. And always work with a mortgage banker, such as myself or anyone else that's a mortgage banker, because we have access to, hundreds of different investors that we're able to use. If you don't fit box A, you can fit in a box B to Z, right? There's always something. So, like I think outside the box, clients and realtors need to think outside the box and say, hey, I know you bank with XYZ bank. I know they're kind of tough, and if you don't have the perfect credit and income, it's probably not going to work. I suggest you go work with a mortgage banker that has access to infinite investors for good credit, mediocre credit, and bad credit. He can do it all. This is who you should go to. So that's my advice to the consumer and to the realtors that always work with mortgage bankers.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, because especially like the banks, like you walk into the typical bank down the street, they're looking for almost like the perfect borrower, like good credit, W-2 income, been at the job for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and everything's very vanilla. Anything outside of that, they're going to deny. And then people lose confidence, they lose hope, they think they can't qualify, but they need to really talk to people that can get a little more creative and know how to find the yes.
Yeah, and you just touched on something.
El Zorro.
El Zorro. You just touched on something else, job stability.
Yeah.
If you know that you're going to change jobs and you're like less than a month away from buying, please don't do it. Please stay at your job and just wait. Now, if it's in the same industry and you're going from a manager to a manager, please don't do it while you're in the transaction. Please wait.
Definitely don't do that.
I have a client on a new construction that they've been in escrow for 4 months, and we're closing it on Friday, and she changed jobs Monday. She went from a manager at a pizza place to a manager at Universal Studios. I'm like, wait, what? What'd you just do?
Yeah, why?
Oh, yeah, but I'm still a manager. Now, you walk into a traditional bank, they're going to say sorry, because we don't have proof that you're going to make the same. But someone like me, I'm like, okay, cool. Service industry, we're going to create a letter of explanation documenting that, yeah, you're managing restaurants there, not here. It's still a restaurant.
Same type of work.
Same type of work. And we're going to make it work for you. But don't do that. Don't do things like that, right? Don't buy a car. Don't change jobs. Don't stop paying your bills.
Even credit cards, right? You don't really want to do a whole lot with your credit at all.
No, don't go pull money out of a credit card to go buy a house.
Definitely don't do
smart.
that. Yeah.
And just always consult before you do something. Go to your real estate agent. Go to your lender. Figure out who's available to answer all your questions. And if somebody can't answer all your questions, go work with somebody else that can. If they can't refer you to the right person, move on.
They might not be the right person.
Absolutely. You got to work with someone that can answer all your questions.
Just to go back to what you were talking about a second ago about how important credit is and the different buckets, right? Like 580 to 600, 600 to 620, 620, 640, and so on up the chain. Those little bumps in credit can make a big difference in terms of like what you qualify for, the interest rate, purchasing power, all of that stuff.
Right.
Do you have any tips for like last minute credit cleanup, how to get stuff dropped, things like that?
Let's assume you have maxed out credit cards and you think I'm going to pay all of them to zero. We have what's called credit simulators that tell us hypothetical scenarios. Example, if I pay $3,000 here, $2,000 here, $1,000 here, or $400, $600, whatever, you will actually get a higher score by playing with those credit systems.
By spreading it around a little bit?
Spreading it around.
Interesting.
You'll get a higher score than paying everything to zero. Some people also think paying it and closing it gets you a better credit score. The second you close that trade line, you just killed that entire credit history. Bye-bye. Score's gonna drop. So my advice is last minute, if you're like in a rush to do something, consult a mortgage banker. Don't go to the bank because the bank doesn't do this for you. Go to a mortgage banker that has credit simulators that can do hypothetical scenarios, look at your credit, look at the money, figure out where you need to be, and then some scores actually tailor only for FHA, some for conventional, and so forth. That lender will be able to explain and say what you qualify for. So if you're gonna do something silly and pay everything at once, consult first. Keep your money because you may not need all that money that you think to pay off debt. You may be able to use that for repairs on your home purchase or your down payment or your closing costs.
Just to recap, don't close lines.
Don't close lines.
Keep balances low.
No higher than 35%.
No lates.
Pay stuff on time.
Any strategies on how to get stuff dropped off or get old stuff removed?
So you can always go to credit repair, and it's out there and it's available, and kudos to everyone that does credit repair. That's not my professional field, so I don't want to speak on it.
I'll just give a quick tip on that then, because this is something that we've done with a lot of people, is just use the Credit Karma app.
Cool.
It's super easy. They've kind of appified the whole make your credit better, and it kind of will guide you, do this, do that on different things you can do. But that's more of a long-term play, right? What I'm kind of more interested in is what you just said about these credit simulators. Tell me more about that.
So let's say you've got 5 credit cards.
Okay.
And all of them range from $1,000 to $5,000, right? So let's say you only have $10,000, but you have $10,000 to pay off your debt, but you don't know where to pay it. You can pay maybe 40% in one, 30% in one, 20% in one. Literally, we put how much you're gonna pay, and ironically, it'll make one bureau shoot up, one bureau shoot down, and one stay mediocre. So we get to play to see where we need to be, and we're gonna say, okay, this is, instead of you paying $4,000, I need you to pay $3,100. Well, why not $4,000? Because your score is not gonna change. But if you pay 31 and have a little bit higher
it
debt,
moves the needle.
Your score is gonna go up. That doesn't make sense. Of course not, but that's okay. Just I'm explaining it to you.
Right.
And then we show them the proof. We do the screenshots of what it looks like, and they're like, "No way!"
Wow.
Absolutely. It's
that-
algorithms.
Yeah, it's the AI, right? It's already got it figured out.
Yes.
So what about does that address like collections and maybe older stuff that's on there?
So collections, technically, you just don't want to touch. You want to pay them at closing because paying off a collection doesn't improve your score. It's actually admitting fault at the end. So the second you pay, your score is going to drop. Not all collections drop, but 90% of the collections will drop.
Okay.
Will make your score drop.
And you might not know the answer to this, but I'm just curious what you would think, because this just happened to me. I found on my credit report a Macy's card that got charged off to collections that I've never opened. I've never opened a Macy's card in my life. I've never bought anything large at Macy's ever. So like, what do you have for someone in that situation?
So in that case, you have to do what's called disputing. You have to dispute the account. You have to call the creditor. So you call whatever Visa or MasterCard was open within the Macy's credit bureau and tell them, hey, this wasn't me. I never did this. So it could be credit fraud, right? And you say, here's my ID. I live in San Diego. No, I don't live in Texas. I live in San Diego. No, I don't live here. No, I don't go there. That's not me. Here's all the proof. It's just disputing it.
And then wait.
Yeah. So here's something. The second you dispute an account, that account stops reporting to the credit bureaus. However, when you buy a house, you have to remove your accounts off dispute. So a lot of credit repairs will say, hey, let's just dispute all the accounts and your score is going to go up. Sure it will, because it's done reporting. And if you have 1 or 2 accounts that are good, it'll help improve your score. But what they don't tell you is the second you buy a house, you must remove the accounts out of dispute.
Oh, wow.
And that will lower your score. So it's better in your case or anyone else that experiences this. You call the credit company, you explain your situation. A lot of people are forgiving, especially if there was no revolving charges. They'll be like, okay, well, someone did it, no problem, we'll clean it up.
Yeah.
A simple letter, sometimes an attorney letter, but always ask to speak to a supervisor. Never talk to the people that answer from all over the world. Ask for a supervisor and then explain your case.
And then write a letter.
Write a letter, and a really good detailed letter, explaining how you have great credit, you're an honest person, you don't shop, someone clearly opened it trying to do fraud, it's not me.
And how quickly do you see those types of things getting resolved?
Generally like about 30 to 45 days.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, no.
It's not like months and months.
No.
All right, we'll have to get on that. No offense, Macy's, but I didn't buy any of your stuff. Very cool. So one other thing that I heard that I just wanted to run by you is that making your mortgage payment bi-monthly will reduce the overall length of the mortgage.
Sure.
And from what I understand, basically, let's say you have a $3,000 mortgage payment, you pay $1,500 on the 1st and $1,500 on the 15th. And because you're making 52 payments or whatever that is, 26, 24 payments, it reduces the length of the mortgage.
So sure, if you're paying more monthly, you're always going to reduce.
But it's not paying more. It was cut your payment in half.
2 payments.
Yeah.
Right. So if my bill's $2,000 a month, I'm going to pay $4,000. Example. Right. You're paying.
No. If my mortgage is $4,000,
yeah,
I'm paying $2,000 on the 1st and $2,000 on the 15th.
But you're.
So you're paying the same amount of money.
You're still paying the same. So someone just asked me this yesterday. So let me clarify. Is that going to shave your payment? You're still paying the same amount. You're still paying the same amount. So that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, but there's an extra payment because of the way that you're paying it.
So the best way, and this is the way I learned way back when I started in 2005, is you always make an additional payment to principal. So let's say your payment was $4,000. When you make that $4,000 payment, 75 to 80% of that payment is 100% interest. Most people don't realize that.
Especially at the beginning of the loan.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you do is you get a check and you write principal, because banks are smart, they'll apply it to interest. You write principal and you send them a check. And by doing that, you're reducing the amount of debt, because we're always going to pay on what we were lent.
Right.
So that's how you do it. You have to write a check separated, and you have to specify principal payment. And if you do it for that same amount, example, that's how you're going to chop it off. Some people say make 2 principal payments, full payments of whatever your mortgage is a year. You're going to eventually chop that thing down from a 30-year mortgage down to, let's say, like an 18 or 22 year
it's years. Mortgage. It's like a lot. Yes. It's not just a small difference.
Yes, absolutely. But my recommendation is, and that's the way I was trained as a youngster, always make additional payment, but specify that it's straight principal, not interest.
I love that. That's a good tip too. Good distinction. Write principal on the check.
Absolutely.
Then send it in.
Absolutely.
So stated income we kind of already addressed. Best loan for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, bank statement loans.
What about you? What are you investing in these days?
So I've dabbled in some green investments.
Okay.
And I've dabbled in real estate, right?
Okay.
This year we're going to be doing, my wife and I are going to be making some investments out of state.
Okay. What kind of projects are you looking at?
Maybe, doing some spec to sell, buy land, build, construction, sell.
Ground up.
In different areas. Get a second home.
Would that be like opportunity zone type development, or just really building beautiful custom homes?
Really building beautiful homes, maximizing your money, make that dollar really work for you in targeted areas, right? Most people that are in the West Coast, let's say California, a lot of people are either moving to Arizona, Texas, Utah, Montana, anywhere where state tax could be 0 to a certain amount.
Zero to a lot less than it is here.
Yeah. But yeah, doing some of that. the lower end areas, like in the home, what do you call it? You just said it.
Opportunity zones.
Opportunity zones in San Diego. Those are huge investments. Are really good. I'm just, I've been fortunate that I've invested a little bigger, and I don't like sitting on stuff for a longer time.
Right.
I'd rather invest in something big that's going to have a big payout, and sit on it for a few months, less than a year, reap the benefits, and do it again. I like doing that.
And that's why you like the development side.
That's why I like the development side. Check it out. You can do 20 flip properties and make 50 grand, make $1 million, stress out, get gray hair,
do a lot of
piss
work.
off
That's
your
a lot
family.
of work. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can do 2 beautiful homes or less than 5, make the same amount, chill out and spread it through a certain amount of time.
Cool.
And it's just thinking smart with your money. How can I maximize that profit but work smarter and work less? So that's what I like doing.
That's great. Where are you guys looking at developing? Where?
Utah.
Utah, okay. And are you looking in like the less populated areas? Are you looking in the resorty, like Park City type stuff?
Next door.
Okay.
Next door to the resorty areas.
Okay. So like St. George and
Heber, Midway. There's all these beautiful towns around there. Why? When people go skiing, if you can afford it, you can go to Whistler.
Right.
But if you're you want to splurge and you live in California, you're not going to go to Mammoth or Tahoe. You're going to go to Utah. You're going to go to Colorado. Right. You're going to go to Montana. And Utah is one of those places that's got so much land, similar to Texas, where just development's going to blow up because there's just a ton of land. And everyone goes there to ski or to enjoy the summers and hike and fish and do this and that. But the reason that I personally like it, the Olympics were hosted in Park City.
Right, tons of development happened.
Yeah, there's talk that in 2030, right next Olympics I think are in Italy. The ones after that, there's talk that Utah may get it back in 2030.
Oh wow.
Example, the Four Seasons is building $1 billion resort. Most people don't know.
With a B.
$1 billion resort, and they already started dynamiting the mountain, building trails. Last week. Crazy. When I was there when we're in 2020. And, it's common sense. Okay, if they're expanding, blowing up, developing, maybe I should buy something now, whether it's a lot, build, whatever, sit on it for a little bit, and then sell it for a profit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, again, I'd rather invest bigger and make my profit quicker with less stress.
On less deals.
On less deals.
And then take the money and run.
That's right.
And repeat.
Repeat. Yeah.
I love it. It's a great strategy. And then this is one of the kind of questions I like to end with. What are some of your favorite tools, apps, softwares that you just love in terms of just running your business? I
love Crisp.
Okay. Never heard of that.
Crisp is a keyboard that lets you do templates on your Outlook email. So I've got about, I'm just going to throw an example. I've got, I think, like 15 different templates. If you're a VA buyer, if you're a new applicant, if you've applied or whatever it may be, I've got 3 templates. If you're FHA, I've got 3 templates. If you're doing a bank statement loan, I've got templates. If you're a lead from an open house, whatever, I've created these templates via the Crisp keyboard on my iPhone, where everything, all I have to do is put the realtor's name, their name, and the address, and I'll just blast it. Instead of creating an email and getting, what do you call that, carpal tunnels? Carpal tunnel arthritis, whatever. It's just one click.
Yeah.
It's like they say the one-stop shop. I'm the one-click shop. That's why I
great.
love my iPhone.
Crisp with a K or a C?
C.
With a C.
CRISP.
And that's for your iPhone? It's an app?
Yeah, I don't know if it works for Androids and whatever else type of phone is out there, but yeah, Crisp is phenomenal.
Okay.
I also love using, whatever title company you work with, as a lender, I work with Type or Title. Okay. With my buddy Ryan Lipsey.
Shout out to
Ryan Lipsey. And they have a phenomenal tool where you can just, a realtor and a lender can be with a buyer at an open house and just put in the numbers and everything's already populated. You have the target rate, target mortgage insurance, property tax average for because we're in San Diego, for San Diego. So I love having tools on hand as opposed to busting out a calculator and doing everything backwards. You just plot it in and it just spits it out. And it breaks it down colorfully. It breaks down what a closing cost would be. So everything's already pre-populated,
Love it.
which is super cool.
And what was that called again?
It's what every title company has a separate one.
Oh, so it's Tycor's tool.
It's Tycor's tool. I think
Got
it's called Tycor Pro, or Tycor 1, I think.
So holler at Ryan Lipsey if you want to get.
That's
if you
right.
want to get that.
That's right. And then another tool that I like using. I don't know. You know what? Let's look. 'Cause I have like 40 tools. I have a tool for everything. So
love it.
let's see. I'm looking at
Rodrigo,
this right now.
the tool man Ballon.
I have Salesforce on my phone. I love Salesforce. So if someone's applying, I can just click here and it'll tell me how many leads came in. It'll tell me what agent sent me the lead. It'll tell me, what they're requiring and if anyone's touched it. I like having Word. You can have Microsoft Word on your phone. Why? Because when people need approval letters, instead of me going to my office, which I used to do, waste of time, I just put everything in on my phone, send the name, send the address, send whatever. I mean, I've even been at the movies where I see the phone ringing and I'll auto text, hey, I'm in the movies. Cool, no worries. Can you send me an approval letter?
Here you go.
They're like, oh, that's cool. I don't give a shit. But hey, I need an approval letter. Cool, no worries. Let me just send it to you real quick.
Love it.
And I'll just, I'll turn down the brightness and I'll just send it over. So having Word really helps. I love having another app called WhatsApp.
Okay.
So I do a lot of foreign national business. There could be a lot of Canadians, a lot of people in South America, Latin America countries, Mexico, whatever it may be, where WhatsApp's a resource where you can just talk. It's for free and text internationally, no problem, which is super cool. And that's a tool that other people around the world use more than text messages.
Than texting, yeah.
Yep. So I love
cheap and free.
Cheap and free. And I mean, honestly, Waze, I love Waze and traffic, right? Dropbox. So all my clients have a secure link through my email, which gets automatically uploaded, which is really cool. But then I also like Dropbox, right? A lot of people like sending their documents. Always protect it. So Dropbox is super cool. You just put the email address you're going to send it to and upload it that way. It's super secure. So I like that. I mean,
so you're giving people, creating a transaction file on Dropbox, giving them the email, so when they need to upload something, they just fire it straight in?
Straight in.
I love it.
It's pretty cool. And I mean, I don't know, man. Those are just amazing apps that I love to use that tailor to what I do in business, which is loans, right? I have 3 different calculator applications that I have. Some that amortize loans over 30 years and give you your payment from year 30 to year 1 to year 30, showing how you pay down the balance. I mean, I don't know, there's just lots of different tools, but yeah, those other ones. Crisp is great for a keyboard app.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I really appreciate it, man. It's been a ton of great insight. I think there's been a ton of nuggets that you dropped. If you guys have any questions or want to know more, leave a comment below. If you like the show, make sure you subscribe. We're on iTunes, YouTube, all the major platforms. And again, if you're in Real Closers on Facebook, you can make these interactive with us. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, Rodrigo. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks.